Welcome back to Growth Unlock. I'm here today with Aki Yamazaki, the Chief Marketing Officer at Peak Cocktails, a functional beverage brand that's revolutionizing the athletic performance space. Welcome, Aki. Excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Marcel. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you very much. So, Aki, with your extensive background as former communications director at Coca-Cola, you bring world-class beverage marketing expertise to Peak Cocktails, where you help build the foundation of this innovative brand that's positioning itself uniquely within the sober, curious movement by focusing on athletic performance rather than just alcohol-free alternatives. Can you walk us through how you identified this market gap and what makes your four core benefit framework, the calm, recovery, sleep, and social, so effective for the athletes?
Sure. So I think the first thing we did was we did a lot of research, extensive desk research, as well as consumer research. And we identified that about 46% of American consumers are trying to drink less alcohol, and that there were about 70 million US adult buyers of non-alcoholic drinks, with a market that was growing at the time nearly 30% year on year. So our founder, Ian Cross, is an athlete, and in researching the market, discovered that there were no non-alcoholic beverages targeting athletes. So that was sort of our aha moment. And the background was that, if you think about it, a lot of non-alcoholic beverages like water, iced tea, etc., aren't satisfying. Non-alcoholic beers, wines, mocktails aren't healthy. They're full of sugar. And then we realized that functional non-alcoholic beverages existed, but weren't fitness orientated and not effective for athletes. So we had to make the decision of whether to go narrow and deep or wide and shallow. And we made the decision to go narrow and deep, to focus on our core proposition of targeting athletes. So we talked briefly about one of our ads, which has been running nearly 3 years since launch, and it's called What Athletes Drink When They're Not Drinking. It's a good example of this approach, and we still continue to this day to run it. So we're looking at about 14 million potential customers who are physically active and who spend nearly $300 a year on products in the NA space, giving us a $4 billion market size. What makes Peak so effective for athletes is that we use research-backed ingredients in effective amounts based on double-blind placebo testing. And I think the biggest distinction for us is that while most brands hide behind a secret or a proprietary blend, we're transparent in communicating the actual amount of adaptogens, nootropics, and superfoods that are contained in each can of Peak. So if you think about it, athletes need to recover from workouts by helping their muscles heal after rigorous exercise. As you can imagine, muscles tear, rebuild, and inflammation increases. So recovery isn't just about soreness, it's about enabling the next performance. And poor recovery compromises sleep, immunity, and emotional stability. So when we talk about our ingredients, like tart cherry, which is a superfood, that reduces post-exercise inflammation, resulting in less pain after exercise and faster strength recovery. It also helps with sleep, increasing melatonin, improving sleep efficiency, and ashwagandha, an adaptogen, which is also known as Indian ginseng, helps with stress while improving muscle recovery and increasing strength. One ingredient that many people are familiar with is L-theanine, a nootropic, which is an amino acid which is found in tea leaves. It's a natural mood enhancer that relaxes the mind without drowsiness. So this is one of the key characteristics of Peak, which I wish you could try yourself, which, despite the absence of alcohol, provides a sense of calm or a slight buzz within, for me, it's like instantaneous within like 10 to 15 minutes. Some people it takes 30 to 60 minutes. And the fact that we use 200 milligrams of L-theanine in each can of Peak attest to this effect, which many of our customers rave about. And then just in terms of the three remaining ingredients, curcumin is the main bioactive substance of the turmeric root, which reduces inflammation. Lemon balm, an herb, reduces stress, anxiety, and improves mood and sleep. And finally, zinc plays a central role in the immune system and helps support mental well-being. So these ingredients combined, as you mentioned in the setup, about providing less stress, anxiety, and a sense of calm, and help our customers enjoy being social without the alcohol. It's a long-winded explanation, but that's the background behind us really focusing on the athlete space versus going very wide and being a generic non-alcoholic cocktail,
Yeah.
which many brands out in the market are competing in.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of going deep, and from what you said, the product sounds tremendously amazing, and I really love the fact that you're not only building it because everybody's trying, as you said, do the mocktails, do the different versions of cocktails, so you can feel like you're drinking something that has that buzz, even if it's not an non-alcoholic, but actually have something that is very good for your body and get the buzz out of it in the end. That's like a hell of a combination because you're getting basically that's the holistic solution that everybody should be looking for. So that's amazing. And tell me again, like how are you actually producing that buzz? Is it just the side effect of all the stress relief vitamins, or how does that happen?
It's primarily L-theanine,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of brands don't use the functional ingredients that we use in effective amounts.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we boosted our L-theanine to 200 milligrams made a huge difference, and we did a lot of testing to make sure that it was effective. So, on the principles of effective marketing and advertising, it's truth well told. It's something that we want to have integrity behind, and we don't want to be making claims that we can't keep. So I think you're right. It's really about the authenticity of the brand and making sure that the ingredients really deliver on the promise of calm.
Amazing, amazing. And of course, you've achieved amazing growth. You have about 100% growth year over year, which is in today's landscape very, very rare. So that's why we're speaking here as well. So you definitely have some unique insights about American athletes and health conscious customers. What have you maybe discovered that many other brands might be missing, right? You're going deep, you're giving them what they want. Is there anything else besides the actual product that you know about the athletes that allows you to target them so effectively?
Yeah, that's a very insightful question. I don't know if it's what other brands are missing, but I think one of the biggest shifts we've seen, especially among elite athletes and performance orientated consumers, is that it's recovery, calm, and better sleep are now the
Mm,
ultimate flex. It's no longer about proving how hard you can push your body and working out. It's not drinking to show you can handle it. It's really, I think the consumers are becoming much more practical and pragmatic and showing up clear-headed, rested, balanced the next day. So I think one area that a lot of brands don't focus on is our focus on the post-exercise, which is where
mm,
people suffer quietly. They're overstimulated, they're dehydrated, they're sleep deprived, and they don't just need fuel, they actually need a system to come down. And that's where Peak lives. And it's not just physical recovery, it's emotional, it's social, it's neuro. It's helping people relax, reset, and reconnect without alcohol. And that's the mindset shift we built Peak around. We're not selling just a beverage. We're selling the feeling of having done the right thing for your body, for your mind, for your future self. That's what Peak is about.
I love it. And also, in some of your marketing messages, it says reaching your peak potential, right? So it kind of plays in that role of everybody achieving their peak potential and peak being a part of it, of course. And this is like all of this. It sounds amazing. You have the right mission, you have the right story behind the product, and the right goal that you want to basically help people achieve. However, as we all know, transitioning that into the marketing messages can be quite difficult, right? And giving the people fully the understanding of what you're trying to achieve might sometimes get lost in translation. So, what I'm interested in is how are you translating this mission into tangible product benefits that differentiate yourself in the functional beverage market? Or do you have any educational funnels? Like, how are you doing this so your customer actually understands?
Yeah, I think one of the key things that we really focus on is being very transparent with our communications. And I think we talked about our philosophy about constant progress and helping people reach their peak potential. And we really try to translate that into every layer of the product.
Mm,
So with the functional beverage category growing, somewhere between 240 billion to 460 billion by 2033. As I was mentioning earlier, most players still focus on energy, protein, and stimulation. So we have a lot of difficulty making sure that when people think about peak, and because we do talk about peak potential, that they're not confused that it's not an energy drink. So a lot of
mm,
people confuse all sports drinks as being energy drinks and giving you a boost or a caffeine energy kick.
mm,
So what we did was we designed Peak differently. In terms of the formulation, as I mentioned, it's the adaptogens, nootropics, and superfoods, the three pillars that support recovery, calm sleep, and social connection. It's the design philosophy. It's a ritual, not just a drink, as I mentioned. We've really built Peak for the whole system, the stress levels, the sleep quality, even the confidence of ordering Peak that actually aligns with your values. And importantly, our mission alignment. We donate 5% of net profits to nonprofits. They include Protect Our Winters, Give Well, Design Outreach, extending Peak's purpose beyond the can. So in a category which primarily chases the next boost in terms of this energy, Peak's deliberately about the after. It's the smarter
mm.
reset that keeps you performing at your best after exercise.
Mhm. So you're trying to basically educate people what you're really about and other problem that you pretty much solve in that sport versus energy versus recovery versus the whole process where you really fit in a different category than just the energy drink. But it's same everywhere I look. Everybody is comparing the regular sports drink into or with the actual energy drinks, and they rarely read through what is the actual difference, and they feel like, okay, drink this sport drink, I feel better, I feel more energized, and that's it, right? So really, I would say that you're chasing something that needs, it's more like a new mechanism but needs more education because people are just not used to seeing this product just yet.
Yeah, I think, luckily we're still in that blue ocean space and we don't have any competitors, knock on wood, right?
Mhm.
And I think we were very lucky in going narrow and deep into that athletic space. So we're
Mm.
very optimistic and keen, and we hope to be having the continued exponential growth that we've been having for the next few years at least.
Absolutely. And this just goes to show how if you're really in that situation where you find a problem, you identify a gap and you build a product that's on the verge of the red ocean, but still in that blue ocean just because people are not really into that category, but it's not something you need to persuade people on too much. You just need to educate them like, okay, this is what you actually want, this is what you're searching for, but it's a little bit different and you need to understand a little bit more about it. I think this is where the new niches and new big companies are born because you're just on that edge of giving people what they want, but also educating them why they want it because they might not want it just now. And this just
Yeah.
goes to show as well, like why your ads are working so well for such a long time, right? You mentioned 2.5, 3 years with great ROAS, and it's incredibly rare in today's landscape. My next question would be like, what's your secret for creative longevity? And how do you balance scaling those winning ads while testing maybe new creative approaches?
I don't I don't know if it's a secret, but as I was mentioning earlier about the transparency, having a compelling proposition is key. The ad that I mentioned that's been running, yeah, it's actually now over 3 years. It simply communicates what athletes drink when they're not drinking.
Mm,
Even the production values aren't great. It's not a fancy ad by any means,
Mm.
but after 3 years, it's still one of our best performing ads, and it basically provides a solution by communicating, our story, which was that Peak was developed by an award-winning mixologist and athlete, Sam Anderson, with fitness and health benefits, and supported by adaptogens, nootropics, and superfoods. When we developed that, we weren't sure how well it would be doing, but it still continues to be our most effective because I think it's the simplest message, and I think consumers resonate with simple messages.
And this just goes to show that sometimes it's not even the beautiful design and very fancy setup or huge production studio. It's just about the right message to the right people, right? And of course, telling it in a way that it is interesting. People do have this misconception nowadays that you need to have 5 to 15 second videos max, where you need to have a strong hook and all of that. That's partially true, but still having a good, even long format creative works well, or even like just static creative that portrays the message works well. So I can clearly see how it works, and more so with the blue ocean not having too many competitors, the ad just stands out, right? If it's
Yeah,
designed well, yeah.
I think it's really not about the production values per se, although we're always very cognizant of, making sure that it's on brand and being consistent with the brand language. We have a world-class creative director, Lime Somura, who went to Pratt. He's a world-class designer by, training. And we
Mm,
talk every day about making sure that our ads are on brand. There's no compromise. It's not thrown together. And while we're still scaling winners like this ad, we're constantly testing new creative approaches. So
mhm.
it's focusing on effective ingredients, for example, or citing testimonials, or even about losing weight. And one way that we are really religious about is that we analyze triple whale data daily, looking at triple attribution ROAS, meta ROAS, new customer ROAS to scale winners while reducing support behind the laggards. And one tool that
Mm,
we use in triple whale that's been particularly helpful is Mobi. I don't know if you're familiar with Mobi, but it uses ChatGPT as the backbone to analyze everything from sales, inventory, email performance, and through the AI, it's able to analyze the performance and give us recommendations. Of course, like as with Chat GPT, it does hallucinate a lot and you
mhm,
have to double check, but
mm.
that's a great tool for us to keep on top of our business and making sure that our creative is really performing up to our expectations.
Absolutely. And I'm loving that we're going into this direction, because this is where I get really excited about all of the marketing setup. So of course we all know how bad tracking is nowadays, and how you can really trust what the platforms show you because of the privacies and disconnect and everything. So Triple Whales, of course, a very smart solution for a brand that reaches a size where you really need to know where the traffic is coming from and converting, right? So you can actually make good informed decisions. But as you said, AI sometimes skews or hallucinates the results. So you basically need to be very aware of what you're doing with your traffic tracking, etc. But I'm very interested in your channel stack and how you're actually driving traffic. I think that we've talked about TikTok before being like a missed opportunity due to demographic mismatch. But what kind of channels are you maybe exploring right now? And maybe what other technologies are you adding into your marketing mix?
Yeah, we were actually quite eager to test TikTok, and we were disappointed that it really didn't perform. So it's not that we're,
Mhm.
cautious by default. We're very experimental by design. And if there's a channel with upside, we'll test it immediately. We're
Mm,
also spending a lot of time on Amazon, on Google, and we're always open to new opportunities. But I think the missed opportunity on TikTok wasn't due to fear, but fit, as you mentioned. Our customers just weren't there in force yet. And
mm.
we're not chasing every trend. We're building a brand with staying power. So I guess with AI tools like Mobi and agents on Triple Whale, we welcome the acceleration of these trends. But as you said, it's not without accountability. We verify, we dig in. And most importantly, as I mentioned, we cross check. And it's not hesitation, it's discipline. We've built systems that let us test fast without falling for false signals.
Mm, that's interesting. Can you tell me more about these systems? Like what on the what you've actually built that maybe is not as common and maybe not many brands really make use of?
Well, I don't know if it's that we're doing anything new, but I think one of the key tools, as I mentioned on Triple Whale, is using Mobi and agents.
Mhm.
And the data is so robust and it's so smart that, going back to my days in my advertising career at, let's say, McCann, when we were going through, Nielsen books with sales information on market share and forward inventory and distribution, that used to be having a delay of, months, let's say a month delay before the publications came out. And now we're operating with instantaneous results using Triple Whale. So I think marketing has changed so much in even the last 5 years,
Mm.
that it's allowing people who have not had marketing experience to manage brands. And I honestly think that people aren't taking as much advantage of tools like Mobi as they could be.
I agree. Seeing it from the first hand, I think that most brands are very cautious with where they spend their money, and usually their margins are very slim. And it's because of the bad unit economics that they can't really afford these powerful tools. But I'm always claiming that having the right tracking system and having these systems in place, it saves you and actually generates you so much more money than just being cautious about where you spend, because it just gives you clarity. Nowadays, if you run the ads without any third party tracking, you're basically doing it blind. You're just guessing kind of what's working, what's not, and turning it off based off of that. This is actual clarity that allows you to scale. So I really like that. Most of the brands I speak with, they are actually larger because, of course, you need to be making a portion of money to invest into the softwares, but it's absolute necessity at that point.
Yeah, I think the data is a game changer for the industry. And the fact that you have so much information at your fingertips. I mean, metadata on Ads Manager is quite restrictive in terms of what you want to find out. But once you start using tools like Triple Whale, it's really looking at everything from lifetime value. It's looking at the various touch points in terms of whether it was Google, whether it was, um, organic search. I mean, it really very scientific now. And
Mm.
that gives us the confidence to put the money where the performance is at. So, we're looking at ROAS every day and shifting budgets daily and making sure that we look at trends over, let's say, the last 28 days. You look at it at weekly, you compare the Triple Whale performance from TA ROAS, you compare it back to Meta ROAS, you compare it to NC ROAS, and then new customer acquisition costs. Yeah, it's giving us a lot of confidence that we're doing the right thing when we have so much data at our fingertips.
Amazing. And do you know like which platform? I know it's always the combination, right? Like the holistic marketing does the majority of the job. But if you were to be specific, which platform is working the absolute best for you?
Yeah, that's always a question that's on the top of our heads, and I think Amazon is extremely efficient.
Mm.
It's surprising how efficient it can be in acquiring new customers. Meta is relatively expensive, we've got to admit, but it does generate a lot of new customer acquisition. And
Mm.
then I think something that we're able to see because of the data that we have is how effective email is in converting repeat purchase. So without the email doing its job in converting new customers to repeat buyers, as well as our subscription program. Our subscription program sometimes generates up to 70% of our sales. So,
Yeah.
subscription underlooked, which we spend a lot of time putting effort behind.
Mm. And I'm glad that you mentioned email and subscription as well, because I feel like email is, of course, not really sexy and people like to forget about it, but is so vital because, as you said, 70% of sales coming from subscriptions. And actually, like you're paying for the person to become your customer. But then when you have their email and your product is amazing, so they are looking to go back, like email is your number one tool to build that retention and actually keep making lots of money so you have more profit to reinvest into acquiring more customers. So like email, in my opinion as well, is very, very underrated. But when done correctly, you can get 50, 70% of basically monthly revenue coming in from existing customers. And that's how it should be with such a repeated purchase product such as yours, right? So that should be the end goal of the brand, to keep the lifetime value at the highest point and keep taking care of the customers that you already have. I really like that approach, and definitely think that email should be spoke more on. But you have so many operations in house, right? Like you have great month-on-month growth. You're handling basically demand analysis, creative strategy. What kind of operational challenges keep you up at night, and where do you feel like you need the most support to maintain this growth trajectory?
Yeah, that's a really good point that you bring up in terms of the operations. I think, it's not the workload that keeps us up. It's really the alignment, and it's about the people. At our growth rate, execution can't be good. It has to be unified. And the biggest operational challenge that we have is ensuring that every external partner brings the same intensity, care, and precision as our core team does. So we're really lucky to have a world-class internal team. Ian Cross, our founder, Lima, who I mentioned, is head of creative, Scott, head of brand integration, Kevin, head of finance, Sam, head of mixology, and Stacy, head of strategy, as our strategy advisor. They're all deeply committed. And having worked on both the agency and client side, I know a great strategy doesn't matter if it's executed by a B team. So for us, it's not that we need more tools. We need partners who can act like owners. And that's, I think, our biggest challenge is making sure that our external partners have as much passion, commitment, and the skills that we need from them to grow our brand over the long term. So that
Absolutely.
keeps me up, making sure that the teams are motivated and
Yeah.
we're aligned in terms of what we need to do.
Yeah. And I can imagine like finding a talent is quite difficult. Do you have any strategies on where do you look for these people, or how do you approach them?
Yeah, I have a pretty long career in marketing and advertising, and I've just been lucky to have worked with the people that I brought on. So I brought on, Ian brought me on. I brought on Lima. I brought on Scott. I brought on Sam. I brought on Stacy. And
Mm,
really, throughout your career, identifying really talented people. And as we've heard so much in YouTubes and inspirational talks, it's all about the talent. So keeping your eyes open for talented people, I think, is probably the most important thing in running a brand and making sure that you get results.
mm,
That
mm,
doesn't answer your question, but I think not compromising on having a world-class talent is something that
mm.
a lot of brands underlook, and they compromise in taking shortcuts.
And it costs them in the long term.
Yeah, it's a short-sighted approach to saving money, but we're diligent about making sure that everything that we do is world-class so we don't disappoint our customers.
Awesome. I would love to ask one more question that's going to be something that I like to ask always at the end, but I'm very curious because you're more technology oriented and you're really taking advantage of the tools that are available, right? So, what are your predictions for the next 5 to 10 years for e-commerce and technology that hopefully you'd be implementing in your business? Do you have any kind of predictions on how the AI will help move forward with maybe the data analysis, or how else would you expect you to be leveraging AI in growing Peak Cocktails?
Yeah, I think that is the million-dollar question right now, but obviously AI is at the forefront. We use AI every day. And it's not only analyzing performance, which I mentioned with Triple Whale, but it's also developing everything from copywriting to visuals to executions to all our creative is helped by the use of AI. And I think in 2 or 3 years, unfortunately, this creates a lot of problems for agencies because we'll be able to do it ourselves to some extent.
Yeah. And this again makes it better or easier for brand owners to actually have something solid and not rely on maybe some C or B talent and only hire A talent will be also cheaper because they will have the tools. But yeah, it's definitely going to cost the agency something.
Yeah, I think the bar is rising in terms of the quality of marketing as well, because AI is making it easier to generate higher quality creative production values. So
Hmm.
it's amazing what AI is doing. And in 3 to 4 years, I'm sure that it'll be creating ads and, Meta's doing that right now with some of their tools by creating ads. But the importance of AI will just become more and more, I think, as we go forward in time.
Yeah. I think so as well. At some point, I believe like you just click one button, give it your brand, and it just kind of spits out the ads to Meta, and you just start receiving sales just like that. Hopefully, there will still be need for marketing experts, and of course, there's always going to be change in the narrative. People will probably get fed up with AI, and will look for that more human production. So excited to see how this prediction turns out.
Yeah, I think you need to have the fundamentals of marketing, so AI will not replace that. But I think as a tool, just as the internet as a tool was a tool, AI will become a tool for people to do better work.
Mm.
And I think it will just allow people who are talented to do even better work.
Absolutely. Is just to support you. And I'm always saying like 70-80% of the work can be done with AI, with the right polishing, with the right inputs and outputs. You're just making your life easier, but the output should always remain quality. You always need to put yourself in the work as well. And that's why like I think we're still a long way from AI being like 100% perfect in what you want it to do.
Yeah, I think even being able to use AI properly in terms of the prompts and the briefings, the way you ask AI can completely shift the difference in the output. So obviously, I think AI in terms of the ability to use it properly is a skill that I think is still undervalued right now, but being able to prompt it in the right way and get it to create the output that you want is something that is really a skill that will be in demand going forward to a point where if you don't know how to use AI properly, you won't be able to survive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can agree more. Amazing. Thank you very much for your time, Aki. Thank you very much for sharing all of these lessons. I think they're quite valuable. And I hope that some of our listeners, some of our watchers are going to implement them in their brand and hopefully thank Peak Cocktails and yourself afterwards if they have some successful sales and strategies going in. And I'm hoping that maybe in 5-10 years, we'll have another conversation with continuous follow up to your growth and how you're kind of executing on the new strategies, new tools, and new technologies.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And if your viewers have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I'm always happy to help fellow entrepreneurs. I'm Aki at peakcocktails.com, and I'd be happy to provide any advice or assistance with helping using AI and building brands.
Amazing. That's very generous of you. Thank you very much. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Marcel. Bye bye.